Hey everyone. Wish I could say good morning, but it is not a good morning. How's everybody doing? Good morning to Eric, AT, Go Bulldogs, Lenny, Gin Rebel, Spudler. Let me see. Sorry, give me a second. Um, yeah, so why is this still being loud? Okay, sorry about that. How's everybody doing? Hey Bayu, hey B still. Michelle, good morning. Wee Frosty, good morning. Colleen, Diana, Brian, Jean, OG, Candy Wrapper, Renee Marie, Tennessee Road. Well, OG Fish, here's how I feel about it. Make sure you and your associates have clean hands before you dare point your fingers at me, okay? Um, Proud for her. The other Michelle, Hindsight, Catherine, T-Berry. But just as it enraged us at him, could we not just not discuss? Sure, Tracy, sure. But it's a big part of the case. Hey, toe beans, red, pineapple. I get it makes people uncomfortable. I said as much, but it doesn't change the fact that it is a big part of this case. It is. And it's taboo and it's ugly and it does nobody likes to discuss it because it is very uncomfortable. It shouldn't be out here. But his father did put it out here. But what I never did, and what you're not going to say I did, is put SA on that little girl because I didn't. I didn't. I immediately said, because in my mind, I didn't even go there. In my mind, I went to like, hey, look at mine type of thing, which is what Seth has said Sebastian would do. I never once, did it ever once cross my mind that any type of physical contact ever took place. And if that's what you took it to be, well, right. Loki's mom, right. Sorry, let me fix this. Driving me nuts. That actual thought, like that type of, that didn't cross my mind at all. At all. And of course, that's what it's being twisted to be. But as this is titled, your interpretation is just that, is yours. This is my interpretation. I can show you all once again where many times Seth himself has put this out there. Seth himself has led to this conversation that people try to avoid. I didn't make anything up. Like nothing came out of my imagination. Nothing was fabricated. It wasn't pulled out of thin air. I heard many times you. No, I never claimed him. It's ridiculous. He's a victim. He's a victim, according to what his own father has stated. Hold on. Hey, YouTube Inspector Gadget. What Chris meant when he says Seth knows what happened, that has always bothered me. Well, because there's something that isn't being, they're intentionally keeping, which they should. That's fine. But Seth has opened his big mouth. And when he does that, he leads to these things. Nothing I stated was speculation. Nothing was pulled out of thin air. Everything legitimately was from what we know, thanks to Seth. It is a fact that when Faith, I don't even like saying her name. It is a fact that when Chris's daughter left in December, Nina filed for immediate custody. There's a CPS call. That all took place. Seth's first one to say personal private things concerning Sebastian. No one even was thinking anything like that until he spoke on it. It was Claire. But they're claiming that I said Faith. Faith was by Sebastian, and that's not what I said. I said maybe something inappropriate happened, and to keep both children safe, they wanted to keep Sebastian and her separated. And we know that's a fact because that is what Seth has come out here and said. He said Chris did not want Sebastian around his daughter. We're not allowed to look at context clues. I get it. Like I said, I know it's not, people don't like it. It's not a fun thing. It's not easy to talk about. Thank you, Renee. I used to not agree with Grady, but I've been watching. I'm honestly sick of how they are twisting her words now. Enough is enough. Thank you. Nina's smart to file for custody of her daughter. Yeah, I mean, Trishy, there's a reason she did. Hey, Andy. Hey, gotcha. Renee. Jay. Creators card shell for other creators. Sorry this happened to you. No, it's okay, Carrie. They can be angry at what I said. They can not like the discussion, but don't lie. Don't lie and say that I put that on that little child. Don't do that. That's not what I said. My mind didn't even go to like a physical altercation, just inappropriate. I mean, it came from Seth that he didn't know personal boundaries, that he would tell other kids things in school, that he say to them, hey, you can't tell them those things, buddy. You got to talk to your counselor. That he'd be in a bathroom and he'd say, hey, I mean, I get it. Do we like any of these things? Do we like that Steph said any of these things? No, of course not. But does that mean we have to like erase it all and negate it all from the equation because it is uncomfortable and it isn't our business to know? I mean, that's just, Chris that didn't want Sebastian around Faith as he was absolutely scared the same thing might happen to Faith. In other words, CP Sebastian would, I don't know. I mean, possibly, or maybe some, whatever. I keep seeing so many say we can't talk about certain theories or certain parents. People, police will discuss all these theories, and these are crime groups that will discuss theories as well. Hey, Kim. Hey, Steve. Good morning, Jane. Hey, Shani. Sherry. OG Fish. Lookie's mom. I think it might just be his behavior going on and Chris being out of town so much. Sometimes these things best man to man. For whatever Sebastian is, I don't know what happened before with Sebastian or didn't. We weren't there. The only thing that matters this very moment is he is missing. Yeah. I mean, of course. Haley, Michelle. I can understand how some are drawing a direct essay conclusion. However, they clearly forget there are many other inappropriate reactions to one deal with trauma. Well, which is why we Frosty, like my then example was Seth saying about, here's mine, now show me yours. Because that's what I was thinking more along those lines. I never thought of it just didn't cross my mind to say a physical assault. First off, if that were the case, I'm sure Nina would have filed charges. I'm sure it wouldn't have been, just filing for immediate custody. I'm sure she would have been more outraged than that, right? Like, I don't even want to go into what I think would have happened if that happened, because I don't want to envision that happen. That is not something that, that's not something that goes through my mind. I'm not out here I've always been out here saying, stop putting, I just said it the other day on my stream. Stop putting essay on these kids. I said it during Jay's stream. I was not implying, I was not meaning that she was actually physically harmed. That is not what I meant at all. Good morning, Patricia. But when people are looking for a reason, they'll look for any reason. And I get it, you don't like me, that's fine. But please don't lie on what you think I said. What I said is very fucking clear. If you look at Drama YouTube, 90% of crap stated came out of Steph's mouth never should have been said in the first place, because how can Sebastian face his peers now? Yeah. Well, and to put that weight on other people's shoulders that are here discussing things isn't fair either. And then to find out, listen, TP, you can call me out all you want, but you're friends with Cher. You're friends with a woman who sent her news to a father with a missing daughter. You're and promoting a stream that is what do you call those stupid things? They're using one of those spirit boxes. What do you really? You're the moral police, but yet you're supporting shit like that? Yeah, let me play Steph's own words so you guys can all hear it yourself. Listen, like I said, I wish I never said it. I do. I should have been more cautious of what I was doing, and but I'm sorry that these are undertones that have been here the entire time. And I like I said, as uncomfortable as they are, it doesn't change the fact that they're there. And I do think it plays a huge part, and people can disagree. That's fine. I never even deep dived into any of this because people don't like this topic. But does that mean it doesn't exist? And if every topic that was uncomfortable or taboo or made us feel a certain way didn't exist, what a great world that would be. But unfortunately, things like this happen every day. There are children falling victim to other children every day. That is what we heard Sebastian was from his own father's mouth. It happens every day. And if we brush it off because we don't like it or it's taboo or, oh, but it makes us feel a certain way, it doesn't stop the fact that it's happening in our world. No, I didn't, Lolly. I didn't put those tones out there. So let's get it.
And then this thing happened. And then he found out later. He found out after the fact, okay, with this whole situation. So still very mind-blowing stuff. I can't believe this happened, but now she's clarifying things. And this also, by her clarifying things, that does confirm that this, what Seth said in this interview is true. Moving on, she says, my son received all the available help he could get. Multiple therapists involved. His doctor did.
Let me stop for a second. Let me, yeah, still up. Let me start. Should I play that first, OG Fish? Because I can. About the criticism of anybody who is friends with Cher. I mean, I couldn't agree more, Sammy. I just find it quite ironic. I didn't know she was friends with Cher. And it's like, wait, Cher has been doing like nasty shit for years. For years. If you're going to base well, not one, because obviously she had a problem 4 months ago with my thumbnails and all those things. Fine, I get it. But then to sit there and say, oh, well, Granny played a call where the tip line lady said, I didn't ask the tip line lady to say any of the shit that was said. And I could play a lot fucking more. If you're going to sit here and nitpick everything about me and claim I'm a tragedy pimp, first off, somebody said grifting. I'm grifting on Jay's panel. Wasn't even my stream. Then they're like, oh, and Sebastian was tagged in that. I made it very fucking clear. I don't look at hashtags. I'm not a hashtag police. I don't know what was tagged in that stream because I don't look at hashtags, okay? Then we had the whole, oh, you are a tragedy pimp. If I was a tragedy pimp, I would have kept the fucking tip line lady going. I would have ad revenue on for every stream. I'd have Sebastian tagged in every stream, and I'd still be discussing it, till the cows came home. I waited until Seth and Tony were up on a panel. We went over it, and we moved on from it. The topic changed over at Jay's. I was part of it. But you don't get to sit there and act like everything I did, and because you don't like the way I'm talking about this case, you don't get to then judge me solely based on that, but sit with somebody like Cher. No, not at all. Okay? Not at all. Cher has been there, been doing this for fucking years. And I find it, how Cher just a few months ago, was out here putting another creator's custody. His children's business out here. We didn't need to know anything about Case and Cam's fucking children. But oh, she had herself an inside source. So now everybody knows everything about those kids and what they're suffering from. Where's your outrage, TPE? Where's your outrage? There's a lot of things. People call me a piece of shit. Call me anything you want. But don't fucking lie on me. And you lied on me when you wrote that I put SA on Faith because I didn't. Your interpretation did. I didn't. And then his own father sat up on a panel and said, oh, he woke up with a wet dream. Yeah, but nobody's allowed it, right? Don't touch that. Thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm hot today. I'm hot because I'll make mistakes and you can highlight every one of my fucking mistakes, but you're not going to take away all the good I did because you disagree with the way I'm handling something right here, right now. And you know what, TPE? I feel like you and Cher deserve each other. I had no idea that was your friend. Somebody who just invaded another creator's children by putting out their CPS. We had no right to know anything about their CPS. Not a damn single thing. A woman who sat there and sent her own news to a father of a missing child. A woman who sat there and took pictures that Donwell sent her and then said, and the little tiny mini inches at the bottom, she could see nudes of Summer. And that went into 4 or 5 days of her and Justin sitting over there saying Summer was SA'd. So where's your outrage? Don't twist what I said because you dislike me. Don't you dare fucking do that. I say a lot of shit wrong. I put my foot in my mouth many times, but you are not going to make it out that I said something I never fucking said. And you know what? As a victim of SA myself by another child, I find it very insulting how all of you want to brush it under the rug.
Thing happened. Well, I will say this.
Oh, I'm pissed,
A lot
Christina.
of those things, hopefully, we will be able to clarify tonight at 9 p.m.
Oh, don't clarify, Pascal. Don't you dare.
But Katie Proudfoot did jump into the group chat and confirmed a lot of things. But she also was, taking shots at Seth. Like I said, things are getting messier and messier. Things are getting thicker than a snicker. And she has put out...
Well, SA, I'll tell you what. I will apologize for having the discussion. I will apologize that some of you weren't ready for it. That I'll apologize for. But I will never apologize for how you interpreted what I said. That I won't be apologizing for. And when I see some of the people in your comment section that are worse than the dirt on my fucking foot, yeah, you kind of lose your, talking about you lost respect for me. That's fine. That's fine. Look who you associate with. You want to keep saying you and Jay. You don't have to like Jay. I'm not Jay. But when you sit with Cher, ooh, gonna question how perfect you may be. Let's not forget about that. What about all the money she raised to go down there, J-Dub? What about all the money she raised to go down there and hang out with her new buddy? She never went. That's what I'm saying. I'm not apologizing for this part. I'm not, because I never said that. I never said that little girl was a victim of SA. I didn't say it. You know who did?
Some serious allegations towards Seth that I hope she clarifies, and hope that Seth can clarify those things as
right,
well.
Mia.
And before we go any further, please be sure to hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Last night, to be exact. All
Thank you,
right?
Blazer.
So, it says,
I didn't say
that child was not 13, and we did not allow my son to be aid.
So let me fix this, right? Let me just talk over this, okay? I would love to have a talk with her because I want to know why she's going to put out there so boldly and brazenly on her post that I put that on that little girl. That I want to know. So for those who are unaware, Seth Rogers came out here quite a few months back, and Seth Rogers said that his son was a victim of SA by a 13-year-old child, and that Katie and Chris allowed it to happen. When I go back, okay, and you listen to it, and that's what we do, we listen, right? Because you can all sleuth a certain way and ignore the triggering topics and the taboo ones, but I don't. Then on top of that, what I was told from the tip line that wasn't aired, was not played, hit mute, never repeated it again. You can conclude and you can come to, context, leave somewhere. Bullshit, very convenient timing, lots of actual sad friends. Listen, Sonny, I'm not saying that TPE can't be upset that I held the discussion. She has a right to feel however she wants. I mean, of course. But I understand why she would be all right, hold on one second. Why she would be upset by it, and that's fine. Call me out for having the discussion at all. But don't lie and say that I said that little girl was SA'd. Don't do that. That is not what I said. What are you talking? You guys sound stupid and you're scraping the bottom of the barrel and people to defend. I refuse to believe that there's anybody in this chat without the intelligence to see all this for themselves. I don't know what you're talking about, autism. I have no idea what you're saying. Good morning, Canvas and Crime. So Katie has to go and make a post. It was never said. Good morning, new kid in town. So she goes and makes a post, and this is Katie's post. I'm going to read it instead of Pascal. My son deserves better is the title. Katie Proudfoot speaks out on Sebastian essay Bombshell. That is the title. Sebastian essay Bombshell. Okay? That's not my title. I would never make that my title. But I don't have to keep it from discussions because you people don't like it. Was using his Auschwitz survivor mom for his channel and even implied they lied about. Who typed that in there? Dev, I didn't see that. Hey, Heather. Hey, Crystal. So Katie makes a post and says, that child was not 13 and we did not allow my son to be abused. We contacted all authorities. My son received all the available help he could get. Multiple therapists involved. His doctor did know because he went to the doctor and got checked immediately. Seth was involved in his therapy as well. There's so many lies in this story, including him failing to mention where Seth got banned from the base for his violent tendencies, where at the time my son was seeing psychiatrists and psychologists, whatever, to help him in his trauma from Seth's abuse and the trauma from him being assaulted by the child. Let me be clear. I think this is sickening that this man is airing my son's trauma online. His father. Oh, thank you. I think we were misunderstanding you. No, I get it. Some people aren't ready for that type of conversation. I get it. People can discuss whatever they want once it's out, and the father put out only gossip rumors. But I felt like I you know what? Maybe it's shame on me, Samantha, because that part of it hit very close to home for me, like very fucking close to home. And I have held it in because I know it is taboo. And I know every time it comes up, there's somebody there ready to call you out and say you shouldn't be discussing it. But I personally feel like as a mother and as a victim myself, I feel like these things should be discussed. And I feel like they play a bigger role than people want to admit. So maybe it came out all flooding out at once because there was somebody else, another creator, PJ, who saw things the way I did. And I should have contained myself. I should have known better than to even go into discussion. I should have had more respect for Jay's panel than to do it. But I still did not ever say that Faith was a victim of SA. I never said that. I said maybe Sebastian was inappropriate and to protect both children. And for me, that came to a simple, hey, here's mine, show me yours. Kids do those things. They do those things. I'm not saying everybody has to agree. I'm not saying it's not an ugly topic. But don't lie and say that I said that child was SA because I never said that. And I would never put that on any child without any factual information. There's no doubt in my mind if she was ever a victim and that aspect of which they are trying to make it be, that her mother would have pursued charges. Because 15-year-olds can be charged. By people that want to imply it that way, Remy, sure. If anybody has the timestamp, I'll play it for you myself, what I said. It's real PTSD, and in this world, there has to be awareness. I remember that, and it wasn't said. Did not find what you were saying anything like they were putting out. No, that is not. But you know what, Lovey? That's because some people are looking for any reason, right? There are some that are just looking for any reason at all to go at you, and that is fine. They'll twist things, they'll present things differently, they'll do all the things. But I didn't say that about her, and I wouldn't put that on her. It was TPE, Genevieve. And of course, she got Cher, and she got the potato, and all these people that act like they're better than everybody, right? Some of the most dirtiest motherfuckers. Hey, Roro. No, I understand you're not accused of it. I'm just honestly answering you. My tone is defensive because I'm defensive right now. Yeah. I mean, I can look for it. I can look for where I said it. But I never said it. What I said is, again, context clues, right? We don't like it. I get that. I absolutely understand. Nobody likes this topic, and that is fine. But we know that in December into early February, there was a CPS report to that home. We know that Faith was there visiting. I don't even like saying her fucking name. We know that Chris's daughter was there visiting, right? This we do know. We know that visitation ended. Okay. And Nina went and filed for immediate custody. So we got immediate custody filing, we got a CPS call in, and then we have a child disappeared from their home. You have to listen to the whole thing. Granny said, get context and then pair that with what Seth and Chris has been saying and why they were fighting again with one another. Right. Because Seth came out here and said, Chris said, if they knew about Sebastian, nobody would search. We got to pretend we don't know what that means. And then we have where Seth came out and said, Chris's mother text messaged my mother and said, your grandson is a P word. Why would Chris's mother do that? Again, I don't like it. I don't like it. Thank you, literally, Davis fan. That's all I'm saying. It plays a big factor. And people want to ignore it because it's ugly. But when people ignore it, it continues to happen. Let me just take a deep breath really quick. This is so fucking personal. All right.
Is that what it?
I just would never, ever, ever put essay on a child. Ever. Ever.
Their children, fathers too, but there are women out there who will use their children as pawns, as control in a divorce situation. My mom was one of those. She had my dad arrested in front of me multiple times by violating some BS contempt of court thing. It just sometimes happens, and I think that that's what he got caught up in, and I truly do believe that, because this is a man who has been, like, y'all, every single day, and nobody has a bad thing to say about him. So I just wanted to clear that up, because I know that there's been...
This is Justin from TikTok.
Y'all know that, and so I wanted him to kind of clear some of that stuff up. There are some questions that have come in I want to ask you real quick for the people who are wanting me to share a couple things with you before we kind of go.
Right. Just my opinion. That happens, right? Kids experiment. You know, kids, they get nosy. They get curious. That's all normal. That happens. Okay. That does happen. But then there's the other unfortunate part, which also happens. And because people don't know how to handle it, because people want to brush it off as kids being kids, or whatever the reason may be, because we don't like it, because it's ugly, and we want to think kids are innocent and pure, and they never have any evil intent, it doesn't get acknowledged. I didn't, Redneck Crystal, and I'm not going to have people saying I did. You never tried to do something or say something completely false and shady on this case.
So the first one is so how is he with strangers? Do you think that he would just leave with one if one approached him?
Just no. I don't think he would leave with one because he's apprehensive. I mean, taught him to be aware of your surroundings is what I was teaching him. But I've also taught him that not everybody is your friend.
Now, do I have to put a trigger warning? Because this is like, true crime, but trigger warning if you need it.
He's been dealing with an emotional, stressful trauma.
Yeah, and I appreciate you trying, Jason. I do appreciate you trying.
So you take your time.
And there was nothing I could do in California because the kid was 13. But they let that happen. And they didn't bother to try to even get my son help until last year. Here, my son has just turned 15 in December. It means he's been dealing with an emotional, stressful, traumatic incident for the last 7 years. And I've been trying to help him. I've been trying to get him help.
Been trying to help, and I've been trying to get him help. Mm-hmm.
Going to talk to his doctor and telling them what happened.
So we get the basis, right? He came out of it. He came out and said it. And I can pull these type of ones up all day. Let's go to right here.
That hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs so that he can get over the traumatic incident that has happened to him. That should have never happened underneath their watch to begin with. That's why Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter.
Wait, say what?
He's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch.
Okay. Okay. So we just heard him say it, right? Okay. It's great. I didn't make this up.
That's why Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter. Because he's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch. Hey, Chris Proudfoot, if you're listening to this, you can't hold that over my head. I told you. You're going to piss me the fuck off, and I don't give a fuck who knows. It's your fault.
I don't know.
It's your and your wife's fault.
I don't know, Senator. He shouldn't have.
You guys don't deserve to be around kids.
You know, I don't know if you listened to it, but I know that.
But one part got past me, so hold on really quick, because it's an important part. Is it here?
You know,
Well,
he's going through a parent's worst nightmare, but that's like the second worst nightmare.
My son around his daughter. Because Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile. No, he's not.
Oh, wait, what? Because who said what to who? I'm sorry, wait, what?
Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile. No, he's not. He's a victim that hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs. So that your grandson's a pedophile. My son around his daughter. Because Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile.
So Chris told Robin, Seth's mom, your son is the P word. Is that what we're hearing?
My son around his daughter. Because Chris has turned around into my mother told my mom, your grandson's a pedophile. No, he's not. He's a victim that hasn't got the help that he deserves and that he needs so that he can get over the traumatic incident that has happened to him.
Grandson. Sorry, Ellie. Thank you, grandson. So, allegedly, Chris Proudfoot messaged Seth's mother and said, your grandson is the P word. Seth said Chris didn't want Sebastian around his daughter. I didn't make any of this up. I would never make any of this up. I didn't pull this out of thin air. I don't like it any more than you do. But I'm also not going to ignore the fact that it was stated. I'm not going to ignore the fact that it was repeatedly stated. Does talking about playing help bring awareness to Sebastian's case? I don't know, Jason. I don't know. You know what? It may not bring awareness to Sebastian's case, but it may bring awareness to another parent out there that feels like, they don't know how to handle a situation, or they feel guilty for whatever situation they may have experienced. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, Twist. I wasn't even considering thumbs up. I don't even care about thumbs up today. I care about the fact that it is being stated that I put something on this child I never put on this child. Ever, ever, ever. I never, ever put it on her. Did he say that Chris said this about? Yeah, he sure did, Linda. He sure did. He sure did. But here's the other question, Jason. Really, what is any of the discussions doing that are helping bring Sebastian home, with utmost respect, right? For me personally, and this is my personal opinion, I find it to be a very important detail of this case. I understand others may not. I understand others may think, nope, it plays no relevancy. I agree it shouldn't be out here, but it is out here. And for me, it plays a significant role. Others may disagree. That is fine. They can. I understand. I'm not going to call you out for disagreeing. I'm not going to say, oh, you're neglecting the fact that abuse is real. I mean, I can make a big dramatic thing. I can make a big dramatic post and say, you are neglecting the fact that things like this do take place, and you are causing people to feel shamed for acknowledging things like this take place in this world. I will not feel shamed for acknowledging what Seth Rogers himself has put out here. I won't. But the audacity to tag me and claim I put essay on this little girl, and then advertise and be friends with Cher, who actually did put essay on Summer Wells. Very recently, too. Like, not even 6 months ago. I did a stream on it. Where she claimed there was these little images. You could see Summer, and she described these horrible things that literally you could not see because they didn't exist, but only in her sick, twisted mind. So that's where I have to question, is your animosity towards me because of who I associate with, while you're okay to associate with whoever you want, right? Please. It's put out by the father of this missing child. Are people to pretend that was never said? Yeah, I guess so. Gma. I guess so. I guess people rather it not be said. I mean, I'd rather it not be said either. I mean, honestly, I would. But it was. And I'm not going to ignore it because you think I should. We don't know if this is true, as Seth is king of deflection. Showed the text Seth. Why would he text her? Right, we don't know. We don't know if it was true. But what we do know is that in December, right before Sebastian just disappeared from his home, there was an immediate custody filed by Nina. And then suddenly it came about that Chris did not want Sebastian around his daughter. And that is when he was meant to go live with his father, where he did not want to go. Well, just Samantha, she'll be growing it with really slimy people, so I don't know if it'd be worth it. But to then act like, everything I've ever said and done has been horrible, and, oh, you didn't like a thumbnail. You don't like my tags. Fine. Okay. Whatever. Is it, Sinner? Is it? It's very unfortunate his father would do this, to be honest. But it does play a big part. I think Nina is kind of effed up using Sebastian as an opportunity to come out and speak about Chris and her past relationship. I agree. Hey, Pearl's girl. I mean, that wasn't the only times. There's more to all of this.
This should have never happened underneath their watch to begin with.
This was 4 months ago, Ellie's mama. This was 4 months ago. April 3rd. Good morning,
That's
YouTube
why
troll.
Chris doesn't want my son around his daughter, because he's scared that my son is going to do the same thing that was done to him under his watch. Hey, Chris Proudfoot, if you're listening to this, you can't hold that over my head. I told you. You're going to piss me the fuck off, and I don't give a fuck who knows. It's your fault. It's your and your wife's fault. You guys don't deserve to be around kids.
You know,
I'm not denying alpha male. I'm not denying what Sebastian experienced. I'm saying I never put that on any other child. Right. That if people knew, they wouldn't search for Sebastian. What could that mean?
I don't know if you listened to it, but I know that you're aware of Nina Gomez's video. And I'm going to say this based on what I've heard and having dealt. So my account started off as toxic and narcissistic behavior because of the
I agree,
type of
Watermelon.
care that I had. He doesn't even want his own daughter. It's what I heard. And it's just all about control. And it's about control with Sebastian. That was pretty clear because as I had a lot of step parents, more than I want to admit, and most of them would have never disciplined me without talking to them, to a biological parent. They sure as hell wouldn't have hit me.
So that's Justin on TikTok speaking. And that's a whole different thing. Again, I'm sorry if people interpreted what I said to mean that little girl was physically SA'd, but that is not at all what crossed my mind at all. That is why I immediately went into, Seth saying, he would say, here's mine, show me yours, which was all said on Pascal's. That is all I was thinking is just that. I didn't think it would ever. First off, I don't even believe Katie and Chris would allow that to happen under their roof, okay? I think if they were fully aware, given that they said he was receiving therapy, blah, 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 whatever. Obviously they were aware. I think they were fully attentive within their household. I don't think they would ever allow something like that to take place. Doesn't mean it couldn't, but I never said it did. No, Green Eyes, I never said it did. They do, Ro, but I promise that's not how I meant it. Not at all. Hey, Citizen Sleuth. I interpret that from what you said, but to each their own. I do too, Remy. It's almost like they wanted it to be that, which to me is a bigger problem. Carrie, I don't think it's horrible. I honestly, I don't think it's horrible. I think it is very crucial. I think we need to stop shaming victims. That's another thing we need to stop. Why is it shameful to acknowledge that somebody was a victim? Should they be shamed? Should they feel ashamed because they were a victim? No. Oh, Robin Brown sadly says also implies in an interview Sebastian could potentially go to someone else also. Right, Sammy? He sure did. I could spend a whole nother 30, 40 minutes playing these things from Seth. I didn't pull this out of thin air. I didn't make this up. Was it inappropriate of the conversation? Yeah, probably. I can see why people are upset by it. But I also don't think we need to keep... this is all out there. I didn't put it out there. I didn't put any of this out there. I didn't start this into the universe. I didn't come to my idea of what could have transpired based out of thin fantasies. It was based off actual things and facts that were stated. It's based off the fact that right in December, like I said, after she left from visitation, Nina filed for immediate custody. Immediate. We know there was a CPS report at that time. But I don't think we should, keep acting like it's horrible on Sebastian, because it's not. And if Sebastian goes his whole life believing it's horrible that people know that, then guess what? That does carry shame with it. It's not his fault that any of this happened. It's not his fault that his father put it out there. And the more people say, like, oh, this is horrible for Sebastian, nobody should know. Yes, I agree to an extent. But it's known. It's out there. Justin on TikTok has way more views than I'll ever get. Pascal has way more views than I'll ever get. The damage is done as far as that is concerned. That is the way it is, Tracy. I agree, Mama. I agree. Right, Ellie. But we're not allowed to acknowledge that it could play a role. We're not allowed to acknowledge that it could play a significant role. Because it's, it's taboo. Comment back, Seth, her side. Yeah, I can read it again. There is a shame attached to it, Jason. There's an absolute shame attached to it. For the child and the parents. That shouldn't exist.
I do have to ask you this, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know. But when did Chris go to Memphis?
Oh, wait. Wrong one. Hold on. I mean, I think we get the point. I don't even think I need to keep playing it. The point is taken. I know, right? But they'll still double down. They'll triple down. They'll look for anything and everything. And they'll come together and they'll go back to 1993 and try to put things together to just present how they want it to present. 15 December, Nancy Grace Katie started to say the belt was 3 years ago. Chris said 15-year-old. Yeah. His dad put the shit out there to get people to stop looking, in my opinion, because he needs them not found or spotted, keep getting money. I don't know about that, but I think it's bizarre to say if people knew, they wouldn't search. Also says Sebastian was getting in trouble at school for getting in people's personal space. KP talked about Sebastian's hormones, but Seth is one who said stuff. Yeah, okay. And creators want to talk about it, saying how there isn't enough talk about it. Do a show on it, bring awareness. We need more of that. But no need to keep using Sebastian's name. No, that's not the way this started, Linda. That's not what this is at all. But as a standalone issue, that's not what you said. Unfortunately, society misplaces blame simply as if she didn't wear a short skirt. Society has done it in some ways. I know he gave none of us permission, Misty Day, and unfortunately he can't. He can't. You take the BS your haters feel way too serious. Fuck those people. Speak on what you want to speak on. If you feel okay about what you did or said, say it. Stop people pleasing. It's not people pleasing. It's that they're lying. They're lying and saying, I put that on Faith and I didn't. I didn't. Could be, Bill. Could be. Right, Nick. That's what I mean. Like, people always want to see it how they want to see it. You think so, big picture? And a little tiny bit on YouTube, TTC, one lesson learned, trust no one. It's sad that creators can't keep it real and unbiased. Well, there are a lot of bias. Yeah, there absolutely is. Well, I agree. And he's the one that owed him the most, Head Sick Betty. He absolutely did. Based on what's been unleashed and what part do we play to not accept? Well, I agree, Ham Biscuit. I didn't feel like I did, though. I feel like whatever. It was like they said it all, and then I just repeated it. But you're right. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have. Could be crazy. It could be a huge underlying tone to everything. It's not like, for example, the other day, there was a creator that said, I don't think she's a creator. She was a panel guest. And she made a comment that maybe Chris was making Sebastian a victim of SA. Right? Now, that's just pulled out of pure speculation. There's no theories. I mean, there's no facts to back that theory. There's none at all. They just whipped that out of thin air and came up with that because that is something they wanted to think and say. What I said was based off of actual facts and statements. It wasn't just something I can I didn't just make it up. All right, that's the only part that I'm saying. And I never said that. Welcome, Big Picture. Thank you. That's what he says over here, Bon. That is absolutely what Steph said during this one interview. Thank you, Kelly J. Thank you, Ellie's mama. I mean, it could have been more cautious with what I said, but to say that I actually put that on her and, did all these horrible things, I completely disagree. I think there are two things here. Steph said Chris thought something could happen, not that it did. Summer's case, SA was on her and accusations on her brother directly by creators. Right. And that's what I said, Jason. I said, I didn't say like, oh yeah, Sebastian hurt her and blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember how I phrased it, but it was something like, for all we know, maybe. Just whatever. You're right, Shar. You're right. Let's hear what I said on. I don't even know what I said. Let's hear it. I know that PJ came in the chat and felt the way I felt, and I got a little too excited by that. Probably shouldn't have held the discussion, but I certainly did not.
Most of us average folks just use StreamYard, so
whatever.
There we go.
New link, just in case
I don't even know what part is that.
it changed it. Hang on. I didn't get any email. Hold on.
Hey, Mr. Girl, you being good? You be good today. I'm
Robin, I don't think anybody said anything to you. Thank you, Ellie. Is that okay? However, some take it to another level. They want to twist and cancel. Well, that's the thing. They're twisting what I said, and that's the part I just don't like. That's the only part I have a problem with. Like, actually say what I said verbatim and be mad about that. I can understand why that would be upsetting. But to say that I actually said that she was a physical victim of his, no, that's not right. That never happened. I don't even know the timestamp for it. I'm sure somebody somewhere does.
I didn't get any email.
Pacific
Oh.
Joined.
and I said, yeah, I'm sorry, was it?
Chat in a minute. So and you know what? He called.
Right.
Was
And
that
then-
the one that his grandmother bought him?
I don't know.
I'm sure you're going through Granny's watch and being blamed for a few in a parent's own words, twisting it into hate sucks. It does.
Aware of it, so as far as they know, he left without a phone or anything.
Right. Does he
All right,
really
thank
have
you.
a phone?
Come
Right.
on up, PJ. Right. Does he really have a phone? So
Oh, yeah, so right here. Right along where I was. This is what I said. Again, you can disagree with it, but don't lie on it.
Admit that. He had to say, away at birth. Instead of admitting he didn't remember, and that's
so dramatic.
And it's all about him. Oh man, Callis, I don't know what's going on, but I've had the worst. Like even the one day when I was
Okay,
Both of those men are vile, in my opinion. I wouldn't want anything to do with either one of them.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Proudfoot's any better, but I think Chris Proudfoot is more of that man that Katie was looking for, the man, the go-getter, the man who's going to get up and work, the man who's able to discipline, the man who's able to go and get Seth Rogers to cower across his truck, okay? Because he did. We all saw that footage, that photo. And he absolutely had to pin against his truck because he's not the man he wishes he was. And I think Seth knows that he will never mount up to. I think Seth probably gets annoyed because Chris probably does belittle Seth. You know why? Because he can. Because he's a BITCH.
Yep. And Chris is alpha. Yep.
I know.
Military too. I mean, they connected on that level as well. You know.
And I think that he can just, people keep saying, oh, well, he was divorced 5 times. Well, military does have a high divorce rate, okay?
Sorry, I'm speeding
Fine.
myself up to
I'm
get
not
to
saying
it.
there's nothing wrong with the man, but in this case, of Katie, I've been together for well over 8-9 years.
Yeah, I think maybe he found his match. Right. But the question is, was Sebastian a thorn in the side of that match? And was there, like that Heather PI said, was there...
Well, Alpha, to be fair, there are people in here that weren't over there. So I do think it's fair to play it. Hey, Cheesy. Hey, Moi.
discord going on in December?
Well, we know what it was.
This is how it gets brought up.
They don't like it. They get uncomfortable by it. So I can't say it. But, I mean, we all subconsciously, we know what it was.
I should have left it at that.
He wanted Faith there for the holiday, but he couldn't trust Faith in the house with Sebastian.
Well, right. We know that. But something transpired.
Now, why do we know that? Can somebody clarify why we know that? Hey, Nanax. People don't agree with it. Why keep posting it? Just, right. Why? Right. Well, there's that. Right. I heard somebody say it was so horrible. I don't think it was that horrible. I agree that it was tasteless, but not horrible.
Opinion in December, January, when Faith was there, because when she got home, that was when Nina filed that emergency temporary custody order.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Unless this was all games. I don't know. I mean, that could have nothing to do with it. Like Chris told us, it had nothing to do with it.
I think it has everything to do with it.
I think it does too. And that's what...
I agree, Misty. But I didn't put it online, right? And I, like, all right, so what you're saying, and I do agree with, I think Seth was horrible to put it out there. That's his father, is Sebastian's story. He should have never said it. But I also feel like it plays a significant role in everything as to where we are today. And nobody wants to see that because it's something we shouldn't know. And I get that.
Heather had said that she uncovered that she thought that there was, trouble in paradise starting in like December, and there was a lot of turmoil, as she said, turmoil in Sebastian's life leading up to the day he disappeared. So it can go either way. It could go that he heard or knew something was going to happen that he didn't like, and he took off.
That's what I think happens.
Yeah. It could be the fact that instead of anybody sitting down and teaching this poor boy what he's going through.
Because we heard Seth talk on that.
I don't know. All the answers are there. Again, thank you, One Eye Fly. Just took a screenshot. The answers are there. People just don't like talking about it. So what can you do? You know what I mean? Either I talk about it and I get, accused of exploiting and da-da-da-da-da.
No, we've talked about that on my channel. We've talked about all that.
Well, then let's talk about it, because that's the truth of what was happening, Jeff.
Right. Then let's talk about it, because that's the truth of what was happening. So do we get to ignore that? Do we have to ignore that? I feel like it is a significant part. I don't remember anyone saying, where did we hear? Chris confronted Seth about it on Web Sleuths. And then Seth said, yeah, when we all sat down and talked about it, that's how he felt. But when I talked to him by himself, he wanted to come. 100%. Everything is part of what happened to SR, and every detail matters. I agree. You have caught a lie. Hey, Kelly. Seth groomed Katie as a child. Seth still isn't horrified Katie left him. Seth has come out and stated horrific things since that boy went missing. The problem, Seth. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair, Misty. You're right. You're right. I wasn't thinking like, oh, Sebastian's going to hear this. I have to mute really quick. Okay, sorry about that. The problem is, Seth, he has said stuff he shouldn't. In my opinion, Chris told him what he did to protect Sebastian, so Seth wouldn't put it out. Every detail matters, but to who? Law enforcement, not the public audience. Yeah, that's true. True crime is very sticky. TC can seen as vultures picking everything apart with no regard for the victims. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't think of, what if Sebastian hears this? It didn't cross my mind. Didn't cross my mind at all. Yeah, to mute. Can we please start with Seth is always justified shit? He's not. He's the problem in the case, not the prophets. It isn't even comparable. Well, in that moment, I wish Jay would have said, let's not. Like, just tell me no. But yeah, to me, I feel like it is an important part. And I don't think it's anything that Sebastian needs to hide or be shamed for or feel ashamed for. It is a taboo topic, but it is part of not only Sebastian's story, but it's part of many people's stories, including my own. And I don't think tiptoeing around it and putting this shame towards it or putting this like, you know, I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it should be happening. I can also understand why people don't think it should be a topic at all. That's fair. You know, I knew it shouldn't have been either, and I shouldn't have said it. So shame me for that. But don't say that I put SA on a child when I didn't do that. Izern, where do you see her on my panel, sweetheart? I'm up here alone. Anybody's welcome to take the link, but I'm up here alone. And come out, Seth, shame whoever told on him. I agree. Oh, don't cry out. Hey, Eve.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can.
I just wanted to come up and say, I see a lot in the chat and outside of, your channel that this should not be repeated just because a parent says it. You shouldn't talk about it or repeat it because it's re-victimizing the child. We all understand this, I'm sure by now. I want to know why the same people aren't helping get Seth off of YouTube. Would that be appropriate to just stop and muffle the voice of a parent of a missing child to speak? Is that appropriate? Like, what is the appropriate solution from the source that it's starting from?
I agree.
Because I think creators are getting blamed for the original source, a parent of a missing child speaking on these matters that he has every right to do. Where do we go? Where do we go from there? How do we handle this?
It's a fair question. Chasen, do you have any opinion on that?
Well, if I'm crackly, I apologize. Am I?
No, you sound fine.
Oh, good. I don't know. I saw the comments yesterday on two different community walls, and I wanted to add the perspective of, it shouldn't have ever been put out by the dad because I think he only did that to create a further divide between his side and the Proudfoot side, right?
Yeah.
I was only trying to address that part. Like, once it's put out there, it doesn't matter right or wrong. It's going to be discussed. If it isn't Granny, it's going to be somebody else. It's probably being discussed in many other places, on many other panels. And that doesn't make it right. It makes it what it is. If you're a true crime, trauma, case discussion, I don't know what you want to call it, everything's going to be picked apart. If you look at cases and you want to discuss them on these panels, it's not like a Stephanie Harlow, Danielle Hallen, all of these true crime creators where they take all the facts and make a video and upload it and walk away. No, you guys everybody here is actively, constantly discussing every detail. So once Seth did that, clearly it was going to be talked about. And how do you put the toothpaste back in the tube? It was said, it implied that could be a motive for Chris wanting to get rid of Sebastian. And it was a horrible thing. When it happened, my stomach dropped. I knew exactly how the fuck this would all play out because he was so emotional and he seemed so sincere in saying it. It became another narrative that was going to be talked about. So How do you stop that? You can't. You can shame people for ever discussing it again, but are you shaming them for the discussion? Are you shaming them for the child themselves when the parent is the one who didn't consider that shame and put it out here? Are you shaming because you don't like the creator? I don't know. And I kept being told it doesn't matter who did it first, it shouldn't have been repeated. Well,
I disagree.
I understand. I get it. But, that the chat and it's becoming a conversation of, should SA be a shameful thing that needs to be hidden? Of course not. Absolutely not. I mean, putting it on Sebastian as a keyword was something that Seth also threw out there as another motive, saying he felt like my kid was this. And I'm saying, no, he wasn't this. He was just a kid who hadn't gotten help yet, the right help. So that made me feel a certain way too when I heard that. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible.
And then the part
And it is.
where he said, Chris said if people knew about Sebastian, they wouldn't search for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's significant too.
It is.
And to put shame on Sebastian, who, let's say, is out there just wanting to be saved. I think it's very inappropriate to put that shame on both the creator and Sebastian, as if he's watching and being affected in that way. He is missing. The biggest damage that has been done is done. Right?
Yeah.
So the shame
You're right,
thing, I don't understand.
We're sitting around thinking he's like sitting here watching YouTube and, ingesting all of this information. And someday could he, or could Faith, or could Katie? Yes. I think I was so passionate about it in the Wells case because Summer was missing, but the accusations and the filth was being put on her brothers. They were trying to say her brothers did all of these things based on no information. No parents come out and said that. It was purely speculation and made up for views or for whatever the hell people were doing. I don't feel like that's what Granny was doing yesterday. That she wasn't just pulling this out of thin air and saying, well, what about this theory? What about if he did this to Faith and Chris caught them? And, none of that happened, but it did happen in Summer's case.
Absolutely.
It's a tasteless, nasty, ugly discussion to have. But once it's out of the, what do you do with that as whatever these channels are classified as, whatever. What do you do with that information once it's out there? Do you pretend like it was never said and it's not part of the theories? I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
And creators are scrutinized on the level that Bullhorn Betty and Jay, all of the big players, right? And if you're not as bad as them, you're still getting scrutinized on the same level. So every single little thing that you say that isn't in the context that people are outraged about, like, why are we so outraged on things? Why are we looking for that outrage on creators? Reviewing the words of a parent of a missing child. They came on willingly, knowingly on a platform for a reason to be heard. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
But I think sometimes, like in Seth's case, giving him some credit here. In Seth's case, he may have just been emotional, caught up in the moment. And it's up to our own discernment to decide, is he even in his right mind right now? Should we as creators even discuss this again? He shouldn't have discussed it in the first damn place. So are we better if we go discuss it again? If we felt sick when he discussed it, people coming in our chats are going to feel sick when we discuss it. So what do you do with that?
I think they're going to feel sick either way.
Well, maybe they never heard Seth say it, you know, and they just want to, they didn't hear that. But once it's brought up again, then people take it from the chat and they misconstrue it, much like is going on. People are saying that Granny said Sebastian did such and such, or you know, so then it gets twisted.
I think we put too
You
much
know.
stock in viewers not having their own thoughts and opinions, like they're mindless zombies who just go, Some do. We see that. Some do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Right. The majority of the viewers and members and subscribers have a brain, and they can make decisions based on what they hear and dissect.
Sure. I mean, they're no different than us. They're just not on the panel. I don't know. It's such a fucked up. I mean, I guess once it's said by Seth and you have that initial discussion, is it worthy to keep bringing it up? Does it cause more harm? I don't know. It's quite a discussion to have, and I think it's a circular discussion. I don't think you ever come to a conclusion at the end of it. I don't think there is a conclusion. It's really based on your own channel, your morals and beliefs, and what you think is appropriate to talk about and not. I mean, there will be people out here who critique whatever you're saying and doing, but others who only pick the more severe things and are like, this didn't need to be said. But it doesn't need to be personal, right? So it doesn't need to go from, Granny, you shouldn't have said this, and you're this, and this. And we can't stand you, and we hate you, and you've done this, and 4 years ago, you know.
Because then it's deeper than just you saying it. It's because it's you that said it. It's because there's issues going back however long. And we kind of all see that.
Well, that's the thing. It is personal. Thank you.
Like I agree with what you said on the jokes the other day, that it does seem personal sometimes when things are changed around you, your viewers or whatever, another creator. It does absolutely happen. And it's for a reason, because everybody is scrutinized. Everybody has to watch their P's and Q's, because specifically Summer Wells, it's just the truth of the matter. And the train wreck that came of it.
Right, but how are you friends with the conductor of that train wreck, right? But pointing out something I said and making it to be the most horrible thing, when your friend has said and done repeated horrible things throughout Summer Wells and other cases. That's how I know it's personal, right? Because if the issue was that you believe, if they truly interpret what I said to have meant that little girl was physically SA'd by Sebastian, right? That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. But
because they were already thinking that was said. Right. They already had it in their minds that it was said. I noticed that. You didn't say, in my opinion, anything out of bounds.
No, but their friend has, right? So that's where it's like, okay, so your issue isn't that you truly believe that I'm out here putting SA on innocent kids, because if that was your issue, you would take issue with your friend who has done that repeatedly. And who, again, just came out and exploited another creator's children with personal details of their personal family fallout that none of us should have known, which will never go off the internet now. So it's like, it's picking and choosing where you want the outrage. It's not what was said, it's who it was said by.
Right. And I think that was the discussion, right? If I missed something, please correct me. But I thought that was the discussion of why this was said. And that's where the speculation of why it's said is being scrutinized.
Right.
And I personally don't think that it's, yes, of course, mind your words. Everybody mind your words and be respectful as much as you can. But speculation in true crime sometimes is not PC. It's impossible. And especially with missing children's cases.
Right. And
I think the only way... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to point out that the speculation was based off, statements from the father himself, from facts, like the fact that Nina did file for immediate custody after that visitation, the fact that there was a CPS call around that period of time, the fact that Sebastian disappeared shortly after. I mean, it's not like I just conspiracy this out of thin air and decided, I'm going to make this statement that has no basis to it.
To speak directly to this specific issue and what went on yesterday and last night, there's no way to solve this and be productive in this community unless you're tagged and invited to a panel. You know why? They post what they post, commenters comment what they comment, you fire up a stream, we all air out what we feel, commenters comment, and it moves to the next thing, but this will be brought back up later. There's no resolution. There's no solving this.
This is called weaponizing your content. Yep.
Because I considered even acknowledging it, but again, the fact that it was stated that I put that on her, and that's not what I did. That's what bothered me.
I think it's important, if the people are going to put it out, let's talk about it with each other. If I'm the one who posted this yesterday, I would absolutely grab a link up here and say, Granny, this is why I feel like this. Here's my argument against it. And then you tell me yours. And somehow we come to a resolution or we don't, right? But then it's dead and you move on. Because otherwise, this will be brought back up again and again and again and again. And it just becomes us against them, and it becomes personal instead of all of us working as a collective. If everybody says they care about the kids, then we're not working collectively. We're just working. We're taking away time to work and yell at each other instead of hearing each other, right? So you're fucked because we're all sitting here and we're mad that somebody said this. And I get the outrage, I get being angry, but I also get defending yourself, for fuck's sake. You don't want that put out if that's not what you meant. But you can say a million times, that isn't what I meant. And people are like, yes, it is. No, I'm telling you, it's not. Yes, it is. What?
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what will continue to happen. You can't win, and that's fine. But I wanted those who, support me, or those who, may support me and them, that see that and go, oh my God, Granny said that. Like, no, Granny didn't say that. Like, no, I wish I didn't say anything at all. I knew it's not a topic people want to have. I knew I should have kept my mouth shut, but I know that it personally
I think you and I talked about it up here, right?
We did months ago.
About it. Yeah. When it first came out, I commented that in those comments. I said, even I talked about it as well. But then I did have to think about it, just like in Summer's case. Is this going to help? I don't know. TBI already knows. People know. Am I just purely gossiping now, or is it helping? I don't know. If everybody stops today, because there's nothing but rumors, if nobody else talks about Sebastian, there's just too much hate in the community, there's no new information, what happens to Sebastian's case? Where does it go?
Right. And ironically, so that's something else they said, like, oh, you said that you were caught up and you were going to stop, but then 48 hours you were back at it. No, actually, it was a month ago, because your screenshot was from 4 months ago. It was a month ago that I made acknowledgement that there was no new case, no new information. I was completely caught up on it. I was taking a step back because it wasn't healthy. I was becoming exactly what I didn't want to become. But then his father came out and spoke this week, and I covered it. It's not like I'm going live every day with Sebastian, Seth, and hashtags and titles. No, that's not happening.
Yeah. I mean,
you're not asking Seth to talk more about it. You're not asking Seth to clarify and expand on this very sensitive topic.
Right.
Good morning, ladies.
Right.
Good morning, Jones.
It goes away. Hey, Jones.
Hey, Jason. I heard you was in a battle last night, girl.
Oh, I was trying, but you can't really, you have X amount of characters and nobody's reading a fucking novel, But I get both sides. You stop and his case goes away. Does that mean you have to talk about this particular thing? No, it doesn't. But what do you talk about? When do you become the person who's just looking for clicks and views? Because you're discussing literally nothing. There's nothing fucking new. So what are you talking about exactly? What? We don't know anymore. It's a mess.
Well, listen, with the initial complaint, right? I seen the post and I was like, well, I was in Jay's live. Granny knows I was in there. I was in there talking to them. And I was like, so what did I miss? What is the problem? So I went back to the timestamp that was listed in the comments. Do y'all know I had to rewind it 3 times because I felt like I kept missing it? It's not like,
Same.
yeah, it's not like Granny put out there what Seth put out there, right? She just said that Chris didn't want Sebastian around Faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this has been discussed 100 times. Why now is it something to get so absurdly angry about? I don't get it. I think it's just because right now they're in their fifis, and it's almost like it's become like it's making it to where you don't know what you can say, you don't know what you can do because one of these few are going to have a problem. Does that
I
make
thought
sense?
cancel culture was kind of dying off, but I think it's trying to reinvent itself. And I think it creates content. That's just where I'm gonna.
Well, I feel like
That's
it's
what
a
I'm gonna
little bit
end
of
with.
fake outrage because this has been discussed for months now. Granny is not the first one to discuss it. Jason and Granny discussed it. I've discussed it on my live streams. What's the deal? What's the real problem?
Yeah, it's personal.
It is personal, and that's what I feel. And I hate to say that because I love TPE, but it is personal. And it's just like y'all are just as bad taking the situation and using it for your personal beef, you know?
Well, this has been going on for a while, especially since Summer Wells' case, where clip channels, even though you don't know who they are or who they support necessarily, it's very clear that it's a reinvention of the wheel where you clip things to keep in your back pocket to use against someone later. I think that every one of us has experienced that as a creator, or at least I have. Definitely Granny.
I
Where
think we
something
need to
to you
reinvent
comes
the
up to.
community.
I
It's
know.
very
It's
difficult to have these discussions about what's okay, what's not okay. I think that's going to come down to the community as a whole collective on what's okay and not. But there are some people who they're going to discuss whatever they want to discuss. Either you're going to be here for it or you're not. You're okay with it or you're not as an individual. Just because I like TPE or Chronicles or Unsupervised Maniacs or Granny doesn't mean you buy into everything that they're saying. Now, if Granny came up here and said, yeah, I said Sebastian very likely did this and I stand on it, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I don't know that I can support that, Jess. And
Yeah.
I would
right.
contact her in the background and say, nah, girl, sorry,
But
but
that's
I
not
gotta
even what
go.
was said, right? You know, it's
No,
like,
it's not. It's
and
not.
I've been seeing a lot of twisting of words, twisting of narratives lately, not necessarily by TPE, but it's like, come on, man, y'all are nitpicking now. And it's, again, it comes back to a personal problem. And I think that when I seen that post, and I was like, okay, let me go see, because I was in that live. I didn't hear nothing wrong. So I seen that post, and I thought I was about to hear something horrific. Horrific.
Mm, I did too. I didn't
I
listen to
never even
Jay's,
see
so
the
I had to go
quote.
listen.
It's
No,
2 hours. I think it's 2 hours and 48 minutes. I went back and I listened and I listened and I
I slowed
listened.
it
And
down.
we were talking in my Discord about it. I was like, what it, like, they made me think it was like something hardcore, Granny said, because I said I was in that live. I didn't hear anything. I don't know. I just
well,
think it's
PJ's
crazy.
asking who determines what's wrong. I think you have to determine it for yourself, right? Because as a
Hmm.
community collective, we're not going to be able to do that. I may think things are wrong that Granny thinks are fine, or that Jones and really thinks are acceptable. So we can't. We can only stand on the topic for what it is. If discussing his essay is not something you're okay with, then you don't discuss it and you move past that. You know, there are things that are a hard line for me, like Illuminati standing on what she said, doubling down and saying, if you don't like it, don't come back. Okay, fair. Bye. Okay.
And what makes them decide to come back and listen to a creator that they feel is a habitual offender of doing such things? The only reason you would come back and watch is to see when you mess up, where you mess up, and how to expose it.
Mm-hmm.
That's intent.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So are you really outraged, or were you looking for it?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never even thought about that. That's an act. Can we pause here and take that in for a second? Okay. I've never thought about that. So if
It makes
Granny's a
sense, though, don't it?
habitual offender, yeah, if she's a habitual offender of doing bad things and saying bad things, the people who are outraged and can't stand her are only listening to further clip her and create more chaos within this community. Is that what you're saying, Eve?
Absolutely. And what is your gain? Everyone has a self motive for everything they do. What is yours? And is it really just grandstanding for a victim that you've never met, just like we've never met, but are hearing the same things coming out of the parent's mouth? What's your motive?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very interesting way to look at it, for sure. Yeah. That is an interesting way to think about it, because, you know, we go to the clip channels for a lot of the time specifically because we don't want to watch a 4-hour stream. So am I only getting fed what the creator themselves wants to feed me, or am I getting a balanced look at the stream? I don't know. Right?
Well, you know,
I don't know.
I hate to use this person as an example, but I'm gonna. Y'all don't come for me. But Laura used to say she can't stand clip channels because they don't. I think Granny's also said this, right, Granny? That
Yeah,
they
they
don't
never
clip
clip what
in.
caused the reaction.
Yeah, they don't clip the context. They clip what they want you to see, and it kind of puts out a different narrative. And I think that's dangerous. It's hurtful. It's lying. It's malicious, and I think there's no room for it. Personally, in my opinion.
Is your heart okay with it, Granny? After listening to it again, how do you feel internally? Forget about what people think that you did. What do you think that you did?
I think I touched a topic that's taboo, that people don't like to touch. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but girl, you barely grazed it.
I know, and I never said that. When I said, you know, I never thought of physical contact. I would never think of that.
Girl, no, don't let it do this to you. No, ma'am. You barely grazed the topic. You didn't even go into it like that. You simply said what we all know, what Seth has said himself, that Chris didn't want Sebastian around Faith. That was it. That was all. You didn't go into the details of it. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's fake outrage is what it is.
And Kelly, PJ and I have never even had words, so I don't know anything about us having issues. I don't think that's true. I mean, unless she says it's true, I don't know where any of that's coming from. That's a weird narrative that's being spun in the chat. PJ and I have never even communicated ever, so that's weird. Yeah, that's how things are spread.
All right.
Well, I think it's also ignorant to act like, you know, and I went along with it over on the jerks, like, okay, yeah, maybe there isn't a divide and it's not personal, but it absolutely has been for weeks now. I even say months. I had somebody.
A divide with who? The jerks and you?
No. Like,
No.
I know, you know, because of Shady and then her association or close friendship with this person because they do videos together. Like, I felt this shift, and TPE and all of that. I absolutely felt the shift. I knew it was there. You know, when you can feel it, whatever. So for them to now all of a sudden start nitpicking me and acting like it's just, just so happens, no. You don't sit there and say you haven't paid attention to me for months, but all of a sudden you have all these screenshots and every wrongdoing you ever think I've done. And, I say shit that's stupid. I say things I shouldn't, but don't put that my intent is bad.
Mm-mm.
And that's the thing I see with you, Granny. I don't think that your intent is bad. That's where I come at with
Same,
you.
Jason.
Even though I've been tagged a billion times to show me the things that you've done and said, and we've talked behind the scenes, and I don't think you are a malicious human from what I can tell. There are people who are malicious. Molly Golightly, for example. Maybe Betty sometimes. There are people who use their words specifically only to hurt. Time after time. You've said some crazy shit. So have I. So has Jones, and
Same.
so have a lot of people. But when I say them, it's out of anger and frustration, and at the moment I want to hurt you, right? In that moment, I'm trying to stab and cut if I can because I'm so angry. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of
we shame
history
each
there.
other.
There's a lot of substance there. Yeah, you have to dig deeper to know. I don't know BJ and, for example, BJ and Granny's core beef. I don't
Right.
know all that detail, and it's a well of details. So I just know BJ may have said this, Granny said this, she said that, she said this. Were they both bad? Yeah. But we're not responsible for a beef that happened prior. She's treated me fine. I've treated her fine since I've been in here. Have I heard her say anything that I'm like, oh no, bitch, absolutely not, I'm done? No. There have been some off-putting things, just like people come in my chat and they're like, oh, I don't like you anymore. All right. This is a big ass world. You don't need to like me. It's okay. Let's move on. There's nothing you can do about that. We're going to go where we want. Stop force feeding us all of these things that you want us to see. Life is
God,
fucked.
it's absurd.
Life right now, the economy's fucked. Kids are going back to school. Everything's fucked up. Just chill out. We're adults. We can make our determinations and decisions about people on our own. We're grown. It'll be okay. Don't want me to hate somebody because you do. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then you feel pressured to go watch everything and figure out, is this person really bad? And I'm just stupid? Like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like you, Joneson. Right. I've always been the person I want to find out for myself. And if that means I'm going to get burned, it happened with Laura.
Yep.
I truly believed her. 1,000,000%. I believed her that there's no way she did that. Even she may have done this, and this, and Atlanta's too dark, and I get it, but I didn't think she did that.
Yeah.
And when I realized she did, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I like to base
I'm
my
finished.
opinion off of my own experience with someone. And going back to the divide, Granny said she felt, I was so clueless. I was like, what do you mean? What divide? And I do see it more now. And you know why, Granny, I see it more now? Because now I am being attacked. Because, because I'm cool with you, or I'm ass kissing you, from what I've heard another YouTuber say. But now they're coming for me, and it's like they're clipping me and making it seem like context is completely twisted, and they're putting chasing in there with me, and it's like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
intentional. I'm telling you. I've seen from behind the scenes whenever I was shamed basically off of this platform for the Michael Vaughn case and how I covered it. Mistakes were definitely made, learned from them, took time to reflect, respected the wishes and all of that stuff. But I could never escape that criticism for even saying, hope he comes home, justice for Michael. And then everything from my past came crashing down on me just for speaking. And so it's intentional and it creates content. Shaming creators who speak creates content for those on the face of, I'm advocating for the victims and their families. And it's actually, in my opinion, very gross to do that, to weaponize creators for that. Because it's not advocacy at all.
I agree. Like,
Advocacy is
no.
helping Seth get therapy because he might be speaking too much on stuff he obviously shouldn't be. Advocacy is trying to help the parents, focusing your attention on the source of the issues that are being brought up.
Well, I will always stand up for what's right. I don't feel like Granny's done anything wrong. Not right now. I'm saying, like, she may have in the past, but right now, I don't see anything of what's going on as being something. So many cases, it's just like it's a bird, and you don't let it affect too much because you see it nitpick. You see that now, and I see that now, and other people are starting to see it. You know.
Thank you, Miss Loverbird. Yeah, I think there's a big motive here, and it's to really, you are roboting a little bit, Jones, and
I'm
I think a
sorry.
lot
I'm
of
sorry.
that's what I was saying when I was on the Jerks. I said I feel like because of people that are associated with people, I feel like they're trying to get all of you to turn on me. Like they want all of you to dislike me as much as they do. And that's why I said, and I felt like when certain things were said, it was aimed at me, and I was worried that they got to use. And I see that they're like trying to strong arm people into not supporting me, which again, like
People
why?
are mad at me. Yeah, there are
Yeah,
people who are commenting to me, I'm so disappointed in you. You used to be
Yep.
a credible person. You used to be an honorable creator. How do you not see this? And that, I'm not going to lie, does that bother me? Of course. Of course it does. But at the same time, I've always been the person. I'm going to make up my own mind, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
When that line is crossed for me, then I'm going to walk away. And people will be like, "Oh, well, where's your line? You accept this? Are you in my house? Are
Shame.
me and you hanging out having tea together? We're not. I like you, but I like Granny. You can shame me if you want to, and not come back to my channel. I understand. I'm still gonna do what I do, and you do what you do.
Are they
Nobody
shaming
over here is
Reddit users?
stupid.
Are they
Reddit
shaming
users.
people who type their words in Reddit? The more vile things I've ever seen said on this
Mm.
platform, the things typed in Reddit and all these threads
Facebook's worse.
about their theory, Facebook, absolutely. Are they going after that too? Like, there's a lot of other places and sources to be
me,
mad at, I guess.
the outrage is just crazy. I don't know. It really bothered me last night before I went to bed, and I seen TP's post, and I went and researched it for myself because I didn't want to just, go off what she said. But it really bothered me because it was like you really just went for this lady like this hardcore over something we've all said. That makes me feel like it could be any one of us on the next conversation we have
yeah, it
attacked
will
for
be.
something minuscule.
It just means it's personal. Hi guys, I'm sorry I didn't want to interrupt, but I just
Hey,
came up here to
PJ.
say, um, I just woke up. I haven't seen anything. I don't know nothing about nothing, and it's the best way to be sometimes.
Yeah.
As for who's going after you, Granny, but if this is something to do with me, I apologize. I know coming up yesterday on that stream possibly could have caused you guys some harsh responses because I saw that on my end. I personally know, for me, there's always people that hate my guts, and that's okay. But everybody has the right to their freedom of speech, their opinion. If you were getting dragged for something that all three of us or four of us had a conversation over, I don't think that's fair. To me, that just feels like somebody has a personal issue with you. But then there's also times where these people know who will be the most likely to respond or who will be the most likely to listen and be affected by it. It's like they're purposely wanting to hurt set people, and it's like that's their only agenda. But I don't even know what was said, so that's what I've gathered, I guess.
That's pretty much, well, no, it was they're lying and saying that I said something I didn't say. And I guess, was it left up to, did they interpret it that way? Did I leave it? I felt like I was very clear because I followed up with, like Steph saying, should, whatever. I don't even want to have to keep repeating it. But I just don't think it's fair to act like I would heartlessly and grossly and carelessly put that on a child when I've always defended against that, even against people she's friends with.
Well,
Yes, that's the
yeah,
thing that
when
I
it
come
said put
across
it
all
on
the
the
time is
child,
that
I was
people think that they can determine what's inside your brain and what your intention is, and I hate that.
Yeah.
It's absolute censorship, and I am so totally against that. Why would you not want someone to speak on their thoughts and feelings, to know where you stand or don't stand in the chat and as a watcher? That's where the line is drawn. Your presence is it doesn't need to go any further than that. If you really said something that was so outrageous, wouldn't YouTube deem that inappropriate? Isn't there other ways to go about getting vengeance or whatever you want to call it on a creator that stepped out of bounds?
Yeah. Well,
Why make content out of it, though?
Well, to be fair, they did make it all extra dramatic by saying, like, oh, I won't even clip it. I won't even replay it. Well, why won't you? Like, what were you,
well, yeah, and that's what I meant by, like, it was absurd. It was super absurd because it was like, made it seem like it was something super terrible. They said Granny put that on this child. I was like, what did Granny put on the child? So I went and listened, and it's just not there, Granny. It's not there. You didn't do anything wrong.
And I want to say something. The creators that are coming at you are also the same ones that repeat the same content they're so against, involving a creator's child and what was said about creator's child from the creator. You are no different by doing that. And I don't
made a big deal out of
same,
something that didn't even happen.
Yeah. Let me just say a creator in the Summerwell's case that had fake interviews, okay, involving CPS. And so to repeat what she said about her own daughter, as vile as I believe it was, why did you repeat that? So maybe reflect on that, look at that, and let's have an open discussion, not in the comment section. Like, you asked for TPE. You asked for it.
Well,
I thought it was okay to discuss all of that yesterday in the comments, and then I felt like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said nothing. This is bad. It became, I'm not honorable, and I'm taking up for this, and I'm in agreement, and I'm making excuses, and I'm like, what the fuck? I prefaced it with unpopular opinion because I also felt the same way that Granny felt when Seth brought it out. I could see what he was trying to do, and I knew it was going to be discussed. But even saying, oh, not saying Granny's a fucking tragedy pimp, immediately it was like, this is not a good look for you. What the fuck are you doing? How dare you come here to make excuses? And I'm like, wait. We're all in the same place. It's okay. I'm just giving you a different perspective on how and why these things get discussed in these communities. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that you could see this train coming because Seth put it out there. And does that make it okay to then discuss? If Granny had said for sure that, she believed Faith was FA'd and Sebastian's probably a P word and all of that, yeah, I'd have been outraged. Outraged, like it would be no different than what happened in Summer's case. But she was just putting out, yeah, I do think it could have a sexual undertone because of Seth's words. That is not diving into details, picking it apart, analyzing Sebastian. I don't feel like that's what happened at all. I don't, I didn't see that. That's not what I heard.
And whether it's true or not, I mean, that angle, because Seth said it and talked on it, it could not, but it could be a part of his disappearance. We don't know. And it's okay to speak on that. If you didn't speak on it, people would assume Seth's words are fact.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't discuss like the Wells home or the fact that, John had a DV charge. I don't go into those things. They wanted me to dive deep into what happened with his sisters. I felt like that took away from Summer because we're assuming based on no information. We never saw any of those reports. There was nothing indicating that those things happened, right? Yes,
Right.
we knew about the police reports to the house. We knew those things. In this case, it is different because there are the divorce documents. There are Seth's words. They're there. What do you do
Right.
with that?
And there's also the fact that Nina filed for immediate custody after the visitation, and there's a CPS call. And listen, again, I know it is taboo, but I also know the bitch that made up an entire filthy rumor that I masturbate in bed with my child to the point where I'm raw dog and bleeding is not over there adding extra descriptives to what I said. And I know that there is nobody on this earth that is going to try to say that I put essay on that little girl when she sat there and made up such a sick, horrendous rumor about me and mine. All right.
And that's why you were targeted, Granny. I mean, I really believe it. I do. And you did nothing wrong, in my opinion.
I mean, it was a little wrong. I knew it was a sensitive topic. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I wish at that point I would have just stopped myself and just said, shut up. I know people don't like it. I already knew, but I didn't know it would be escalated. I didn't know it would be fabricated. It'd be twisted. It'd be, so explosive. Because again, it's not the first time it was discussed. And thank you, Brantley. I'm so glad you see what I'm saying. Brantley says, was it that bad that Seth said it? Because it could have happened. It could have had something to do with it. How do we know? We have no clue what went down.
Mm-hmm. There's a case right now, Granny, and I think it's resolved, but I do want to throw it out there and see what the chat thinks should or shouldn't be discussed in this particular situation. There is a 12 or 13-year-old girl from Cincinnati. She's seen running on a Ring camera to a neighbor's home. She's screaming, please, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. The man on the porch turns around and says, who's coming? And she pushes her way into his house. There's a Ring camera also inside the house. She's sobbing. They're trying to get information from her. His two sons are standing there, one about 10 years old, the other maybe 15 or 16. The 15 or 16-year-old calls the police. She says, please don't call the police. It's going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse. And they're trying to figure all of this out. They're just standing there trying to figure it out. All of a sudden, somebody flies through the door, the back door. It's the stepdad of this girl. She runs with such terror in her face, flies like she's beside herself. She jets out the front door. She gets lost in the woods. She's gone for a few days, right? So there's missing information put out about her. The dad, who was standing on the porch, punches the stepdad in the face a couple times, throws him out of his house. They call the police. The police end up arresting the guy. Later, a couple days later, when she's safe and with her uncle, messages come to light that she was being essayed by the stepdad, which is why she was running. This is her words, allegedly. Her mother allowed it. Her mother allowed him to essay her and hit her and do all of these things. That's why she left. The mother and the sister come out and say, no, she's a fast liar with problems. She wants to sleep with older men. And she's lying about all of this. This is a case where it could be happening. if this could be happening to this kid, but you've got a teenage sister and a mother coming out on the other side saying, none of this is happening. She's a friggin' liar. She just wants attention. Do you discuss cases like this? Do you have this discussion? Do you think it's important? Or because they say it's a lie, do you leave it alone? I don't know. It's taboo.
Well, and you know, that goes to my sentiments. But first, I want to keep asking. I see people saying B Tim. I don't even see B Tim. Is B Tim in here? Anybody else see him? I don't even see him. I don't know if you guys are like fluctuating between chats and you're writing in the wrong chat. I don't know.
I don't see him.
Right. I don't see him either. I think they're yeah. All right. So, and that was my thing, Jason, because I do keep hearing this, like, you know, oh, it's not fair to Sebastian. It's not fair to Sebastian. It's not, and it's not fair to him. I will give that 100%. But we also can't act like it's something shameful towards him either.
Well,
because you're telling.
That's why I brought up the girl, right?
Right.
That's exactly why. Because it is hidden. It is denied. It is ignored. To what extent? Because it's uncomfortable for people to face the fact that these things could be happening, are happening. I don't know. You know, as crime people, you know, I looked at that case and said I was going to discuss it. And then I was like, you know, I probably should not discuss it because I know that it's so sensitive that people are going to be upset. People are not going to hear the reality in this. Some people will shame this little girl. You know, there were people in the comments on Facebook saying, did you see her Instagram? She's half naked. Well, does that mean her stepdad didn't do these things? You know, it becomes this whole mess of a situation. And I could tell you were taking it personal, you know, due
Very
to personal experiences. Yeah.
Very personal. Because I'm not going to be shamed.
It's a triggering topic.
Right. And then it also goes back to the same person who made up a horrific rumor about my child. The same group of people also put out that my daughter was sexualizing herself on social media because the girl was wearing a bathing suit. So that went into this whole fantasy world of my daughter being in and out of hotel rooms, okay, on spring break with a family friend. Like, so some of these same people that are with these pitchforks after me have said and done a lot worse to me and my own children. I've always stood against putting these allegations on kids. I've always stood sternly against it. I've had the conversation with you, Jason. I did a whole thing calling out Justin and Cher when they were trying to say these little tiny, you know, sample photos of Summer were down at the bottom and blah, blah, blah. So I knew, and I told you all weeks ago that I am next on the chopping blocks. And people were like, oh, you know, no, yes, I fucking am. Yes, I was. And I knew it was coming. And I'm just so thankful for you and Joe's and Chase and you as well, Eve. Like, I'm sincerely thankful because these people will gaslight you to make you believe that you're the worst person ever, that you've done something so horrific while negating all the horrific things the people around them have done with intent to cause harm. I didn't mean to harm anybody with what I said on Jay's. I didn't mean to harm anybody. Certainly not that little girl. And I would.
They know that. They know that.
Fuck, it makes me so
it happened
angry.
to me too.
I'm not even crying.
Happened to Chasing.
I'm like angry crying at this point because I would never do that. I would never, ever, ever put that on a child's name. Ever. Fuck,
I'm sure there'll be heat from this for even wanting to have a conversation with you about any of it. You know, like, why would you even do that? You're supposed to be credible. Have you seen the things she said and done and blah, blah. You know, yeah, I'm supposed to be a lot of fucking things. But at the end of the day, we're the same people, man. We're all just fucking people out here trying to do the best we can. That's it. I didn't hear her put essay on that baby. She didn't say that.
She didn't. You didn't, Granny.
No, I didn't.
And I know it hurts. Like, I've been there. I've been there where you're being blamed for all of these horrible things that you didn't do, didn't say, and they will literally make up a lie out of thin air over and over again so that people will have it in their psyche that you're not credible and a horrible person. So even if you fight through the trenches for your name and reputation, it's done. They know that. They already know that. And so you just have to learn how to sit in with their hate and go, interesting. Why is this on your mind again?
I do a lot. Eve, there's a lot I sit back and ignore every damn day. There are streams about me from sunup to sundown every single day that I don't address at all. But this is so fucking personal to me. Like, it is so insulting that you would even phrase your post to imply that I did such a thing. You can hate me. You can dislike me. You can dislike who I associate with. You can, hate me for things I said 3 years ago. Hate me for things I said 3 minutes ago. But hate me on things I've actually said and done. Don't fabricate them. Don't make it up. The way that was written, you would have thought I said some horrible shit. Like, horrible shit. And then I'm like gaslighting myself. Like, what, was it that horrible? You know what I mean? Oh my God, like, I was trying to be cautious. Was I that horrible? I knew I shouldn't have said anything. Why did I go on the panel? Why should I have to feel that way? Because somebody out there believes they're better than me. But again, you're sitting with people that have done worse and their intent was to profit. People in the comment section saying grifting. I wasn't even on my panel, you assholes. How was I grifting? Off of that? Like, it's personal. And I'm tired of people pretending it's not personal. Fucking is.
Policing where we go, is going to be an issue that's brought up, because I told people, don't come back to my chat if you support what Clue's doing. I meant that. I still mean that. And the way that I meant it was, we know she came out and said the words. I stand on what I said. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself. Too bad. If you can support that, then we're probably not the same. And that's okay. It's the same with this. Yeah. If people are upset that I didn't take what Granny said the same way, you don't have to come back to my chat either. That's okay. If you think I'm wrong, that's okay too. But you can't take somebody and categorize them as whatever the fuck you want because they came on a panel or they see things differently than you might see them. There's a huge difference between being a flat out homophobic racist, flat out, with no apologies, no, I shouldn't have said that, no, shit, I really was mad and I did say it and I totally fucked up and I'm really sorry, versus, I said what the fuck I said, bitch. What are you going to do about it? Wanting to send people back on boats, wanting to talk about Hitler and the Jews, wanted to talk about the N-word, calling them stupid, saying their IQ is at 70 and you have to dumb yourself down. Those are shocking things said in public and doubled down upon. That's very different than the things people keep trying to send me about Granny. And I don't know why it's being compared as the same. It's not the same.
If you don't have proof, the only way to prove yourself is to show the receipts and cam the fuck up on the panel of the creator that you're talking shit on. Take the link, say it with your whole chest and face, and let's go. Otherwise, it's hearsay, and that's where it'll stay. That's just how I feel.
I think it needs to be discussed. I think there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. I saw those screenshots. I messaged Jess. She's talked about it on live streams. Were they nice? No.
They weren't.
Were they okay? No. But at the same time, if somebody comes out here with a crackle in their fucking voice and you can feel the emotion, not just hear it, because we can all pretend. I can pretend to cry right now. But to really feel the person and saying, yeah, I fucked up. I did. And I am trying to do better. And I hope you give me a chance. Some people will say, no, go fuck yourself. Other people will say, yeah, I'm going to give you a chance. That's how life works.
But there are also
you move on.
There's also people that say, I'm going to give you a chance, but I'm also going to stare at every single move you make, every word you say. And the minute I see something I can make big, I'm going to make it big. There's also those people too.
You are correct on that. I've seen it on the back end where nobody gets to see how it works for the last year. It does happen that way, Granny.
No, absolutely. All the time.
And a lot of mods in different channels that seem neutral, I would definitely I'm not saying go after your mods, anybody. Vet your mods.
Mm-hmm.
Mods are an important role, in my opinion. I don't think people take it as seriously as they should. Mods can dictate how your chat flows and what's allowed, not allowed. You know, they have a little bit of that right when you give them that wrench. Be careful who you give that power to. It does make a difference. Know where they're at. They're your mods. Talk to them.
Yeah.
I just want to be in a place where there's not a dictatorship, where we can have a conversation, even if you disagree with the other person, where we can talk about it. That's, you know, there are teens and kids and all of these people watching these things. What are we showing them? That all we do is fucking yell at each other and talk shit? Have a conversation. If you strongly feel the way that you feel, maybe we're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Have a conversation with me. Don't tell me and dictate to me what I'm going to do or I'm going to be dragged. Talk to me about it. We're all adults here. That can happen. You know, I've been wrong, but shit, I'm wrong right now with a lot of things I believe about the world. So what? Talk. All of this back and forth, you're not going to get anywhere. It's a circular argument. You're never going to win it. Granny's going to defend herself. People are still going to believe what they believe. Round and around and around we go. What's the point of it? What's
Yep.
the point?
I'm not going round and round. I'm not doing it. I'm going to continue on, but I am going to, you know, in this instance with such a serious thing, I am going to clarify. No, that is not what was stated. I don't, they're going to do what they're going to do. They were going to do it anyway. Right. So they can do that. I'm just not going to pay it any attention. And if people believe it, they feel it and they want to go with it, fine. But I also stand by what I started with. Make sure you and your friends have clean hands before you point your finger this way. Right, Jaguar? Many people had the thought. No, it's not AI. Many people had the thought. You know, I know it's not a fun one. It's taboo. I get it. I wish I didn't say it.
Tragedy Pimps Exposed Chasing said, I read that whole comment thread where you were just like, hear me out. Here's just another opinion. It was very well put out what you said. And it was like, no, do better. You know, if you want to talk about this in private, go ahead. This is a public platform. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're dictating what to do in private and in public. Like, that is an entirely different angle here. You're telling someone what to do.
Well, you know, at the end of it, she just said, you know, this is not what I wanted this to end up to be. You know, once you see this, let me know and I'm going to delete it, or you can delete it. So I deleted it. I mean, I screenshotted it because I don't want my words misconstrued either. But I did remove it because it is causing more of a distraction from the topic that she was trying to talk about, I guess. I don't know. You this place is so judgmental and confusing sometimes. You think you're doing the best that you can. You really do. And you're not. You're offending somebody somewhere at some point, and it sucks. It's really hard. It sucks.
Well, what I want to know, Jason, and honest, I'm not, you know, I'm dead serious when I say this, is the issue the topic altogether? Is that what they feel shouldn't be discussed because it shouldn't be out here, but it is?
Mm.
Like, is it just that, or do they really believe that I put that on that little girl's name?
Yeah, that's two different things, hon. I don't know. I felt like TPE was trying to say, don't repeat it. It's bad enough it was out there once. Stop repeating it, because the harm could, you know, they could hear this. Don't keep repeating something that was so shocking in the first place, because it can cause more harm. And I can agree with her on that 1,000,000%, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not talking about that, are you talking about the parents? Is that okay? Because that doesn't appear to be okay. Are you analyzing the videos? Because that also doesn't seem to be okay. Are you talking about the interviews they've done with other creators? Because that doesn't seem to be okay either. So what are we talking about to keep his name out there? That's where it goes, right? Because everything is so under a microscope and you don't want to make the wrong move. The same thing happened with Summer. Because there were so many rumors, because there was so much bullshit, it finally came to the point of, am I doing any good anymore? That's the question I had to ask myself. Am I doing any good for her? No. So I stopped. I share her flyer. I go to the Summers events. I've done searches. I try to help clear up misinformation in chats or on a panel when I can, if I can. But his case is still very new. 6 months is not a lifetime. What should be discussed and what shouldn't? That's up to you and your chat. What they feel is pertinent, I guess.
Yeah. All right, I get it. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but come from that direction. And again, if how is repeating it and putting it out there as if it's a fact when it wasn't, when that was actually a lie what they wrote, how is that any better than if I did speak it into the universe? Like, isn't that spreading, you know, I don't know.
I
Right,
know.
right, exactly, perfect. This is it. Don't repeat it, but here, let me make a CP, then the comments, name the video, and give a timestamp of the thing not to be repeated. And
Well,
again,
yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
and that's exactly what I was trying to say. Like, that's exactly what I meant. Is that any better at that point? And again, I didn't.
Right. You're right.
And I'm sorry if anybody felt that I was putting that on her, but I wasn't. Not intentionally. I mean, it wasn't even me that put it. It was them. I was just saying these are parts of it. And I get it. People don't like it. I wish I didn't touch it. I wish
And
I
the
would.
same people are like, I don't have to talk to them outside of this public platform to discuss where I have an issue.
Oh, sure.
Well, then you're talking at them. You're not
But you
talking
should.
with them.
And we
Yeah,
have
you're
spoken
talking.
before.
You're talking at me. If you're just making posts about me or videos about me, you're talking at me. We're not having a conversation, and that doesn't solve shit. It causes animosity, and it forces people to pick sides, and that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Fight or flight.
Can I also say the irony in that is that now this is an entire discussion. So now that discussion, which was maybe 3 minutes out of an entire panel, is now a full discussion here. So full discussion over there. So full discussion in that comment section. So who really made it bigger than what it was and is now making it all these conversations where it would have just been the 3-minute little segment that it was and moved on. But now look at it.
Well,
now it's
yeah.
all over again.
And
I'm
a
gonna
lot
tell
of
you
people
something,
would have
Granny.
missed it. Yeah,
Right.
they would have missed it.
Right.
Do you know what the answer was specifically, TPE? Because she, again, asked for this discussion and she's commenting more and more. Her response to me asking, why did you put the content out the way that you did, calling me a tragedy pimp, not tagging me like you say you do when you speak on someone, well, a friend texted me and and I didn't know until after the fact of the situation, but never corrected it. So I'm thinking to myself, somebody texted you. So somebody else had an issue that brought it to you and you decided to have an issue.
And
it
I know
sounds
who it was.
to me like it's collective.
And I know that person is watching because I even addressed them because they're always watching. They're watching every move I make. Yeah, every single move I make. But again, I like to repeat, she's over in a panel where they're saying that somebody who went up to share his experience as a man with autism needs to show proof that he's autistic and that they're calling him a predator. And there she is in the chat all excitedly going along. So where's your moral grounds? How are you better than me?
She was 100% okay with my husband's picture on someone else's Twitter account for a while before I even knew about it, and then was outraged when I stood up for myself and confronted it. And I was the bad guy still. I mean, at the end of the day, you know who you are out there. And most of the time when you're being shamed, it's to silence you or to exploit you for their own gain, whatever that is, money, clout, approval from other creators.
Right.
It's self-motivated. It's not advocacy. It's not for the children.
Well, I can also promise you that, yeah, she might see a little influx, of commenters that are going to be like, yeah, you're so right. You have no idea who the real granny is, blah, blah, blah. But look at each of them. Don't look at their past behaviors. Look at their current. And let me tell you, none of them are better than me. None of them in any way, shape, or form. And I knew that person had to be. I didn't even know she said she got a text from somebody. I knew it had to be that person. That just like they're saying I'm lying about her being in a chat where a commenter said, well, maybe Granny's daughter is being, taken advantage of by men while Granny's online. And the creator says, yeah, like agrees with it. And there she is in the chat. And they're still trying to gaslight me that didn't happen. And I put out the proof. I showed it. I sent it to the person individually. It's there. They just don't want to see it, right? Because then they have to face the fact that you, my friend, are no better than me. Tired of it. I'm tired of it. They're not better. You're not. And who has the right to demand somebody show proof they're autistic because they went on a panel? Again.
How do you even show that proof? Do you bring up your evaluation?
Right.
From your I mean, my son's evaluation was when he was 2 years and 4 months old. Do I bring that up? He's 10 now.
Right.
I'd have to order the records.
What?
Was he going to go with the parents and ask they pull out all these old documents? And yeah. But
No.
why is he demanded? Right. But that's the type of stuff she'll participate in. But this is such a big deal. My 3-minute conversation twisted out of context is such a big deal that here we are today. All of the internet talking about it. You really just brought so much light to something you thought should have never been brought to light anyhow.
And I don't even know who you're talking about with the guy and the I have no idea what the hell that is in reference to. But
no, people don't.
I wouldn't have known about this if it wasn't posted. I don't watch Jay, so I wouldn't have known about this particular thing. But I then found out because the community post. I'm like, oh, let me go listen.
Same. Yeah. So thank you, TPE, I guess, for driving me to the traffic you were trying to not have happen. Maybe there's a different angle here. If you feel like if you're going to stand on your moral ground with this, maybe the tactic isn't working that you're taking.
Yeah.
All right, Granny, I'm going to jump off. I just wanted to say that in my opinion, you did nothing wrong. I support you on this, and I understand where you're coming from. It's happened to me. And I do believe you're right in your feelings.
I really appreciate you more than you know. Thank you.
No problem. Bye, guys. Bye, Chasing.
Thanks, Eve.
Oh,
all right. I'm going to hop down to Peanut.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm sorry that, so many people.
It's coming, honey. I've been tagged forever, dude.
I know.
So I know what's coming to me. I know what's coming to me. I knew before I clicked this link and said, what do I do?
That sucks. It absolutely sucks that we know what's going to lead to what, and we have to walk on eggshells because of it. It's not right. It's not right. Because you don't go along with what they want you to go along with, you become a target. It's not fair.
Yeah, it isn't. But I already know what's coming. So
thank you for taking
I thought about it. I had the link pasted in the internet, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Damn it. But then I thought, if I don't say anything, what am I doing? I don't know. I felt like this is wrong. It's wrong to make this into something that I don't think that intent was there. I didn't. So I don't know, but we'll see. I'll be drugged for a bit, and
we'll be there.
Life is what it is. It's all right. I'll go take it out on Scott.
Yeah.
Poor guy. All right, hon. I'll be in the chat.
Thank you.
Bye.
God, I have a headache. We start seeing a nice pattern. Some of these people, they spew hate, my opinion, and hate for that other creator arised irrational thinking. I know, Baltimore baby. I know. They're doing it to Jonesin. They're doing it to Chasing. They're doing it to Nonsense. They're doing it to all of them. I know. Someone who doesn't want things to be said, TV sure can bring awareness to it. For me, she's worse for what she did and did with her holier than thou video she made. It's upsetting. I mean, I heard people are adding extra descriptives to what I said, and I never quite finished what I said, and I didn't realize I misread a comment that I highlighted earlier. I thought they were saying that another creator was using being Jewish to justify themselves. I completely misread it. It wasn't what I thought it was. I should have never highlighted or read it, And I didn't understand it, Duchess. You of all people, I didn't understand it. With me, I thought the criticism was fair because I recognized it myself. But then to go and make a post and saying, oh, you lied, and the next day you're back at it. No, you're months behind on everything. And even in my post, I said, I will no longer talk about Sebastian's case until something of relevancy comes up. And I do find that the interview his father and Tony did was of relevance. I didn't go up on Jay's with the idea of talking about Sebastian's case. Hell, I wish I didn't go up at all, I guess. I can finish playing what I said if you guys want to hear it. Or, we can just move along. But I do appreciate those of you that are, still supporting me and understand that is not what I said. It's not what I meant. And I really think this is being made into a bigger deal. And now, again, the same thing nobody wanted talked about is being talked about all over. And it's going to continue to be. Because you brought it to more light. It was like a 3-minute conversation. I mean, I don't know if it was actually 3 minutes. It was, and it's her channel. It's her decision to go up on panel. Why are you involved? What do you mean, Saint? Thank you, Cat's Eye. Those that were there know the truth. You have great supporters. We will be here for you. Thank you. To who, Saint? If you guys haven't, can you please hit the thumbs up? I heard the show live. I know what you said. This show BS for them to get attention at this point. Whatever. Is stupid. I don't know what was said. Just want to show Granny support. Too much division and nonsense on these streets. Heather didn't see it. Some of you didn't even see it. Thank you, Andy. She is, SoFlo Mama. She is. You don't owe anyone anything. Well, I owe it to you all and myself to say that what they're saying isn't true. Thank you, Jammers. You're a free person. It's your channel. Nobody has right to tell you what and how to do it. I agree. No, she didn't, Dev. No, she didn't. I was there and I'll be supporting you. Thank you, Victoria. It's 3-minute, 5-second conversation. I'm going to make videos saying you lied. I know. I don't actually know the time. I'm just, I thought yearbooks ended in high school. Thank you, Katie. Thank you. Thank you. It was over on, here, Every Day with Jay. I mean, I can finish it out. It was...
Talked about that on my channel. We've talked about all that.
Well, then let's talk about it, because that's the truth of what was happening, Jay. It's exactly what it was. Sebastian was abused as a young boy, and in his own father's words, he didn't get the proper help. He started to mimic behaviors as he got older. He probably did something inappropriate towards or with Faith that made Nina file that also led to the CPS call that we know took place in December, early February. We don't know what happened or what it entailed. But we do know that was a big issue. And I wanted out, Chris being a father, to protect both Sebastian and Faith, wanted Sebastian to go live with Seth. And Katie didn't, because that's her son. So Katie's like, well, no, I don't want to let go of my son. And right. Chris is like, well, you have to, because I need my daughter. So we're likely ready to split up.
So clearly there was discord, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, keep going.
Like, that is it. And then I went into how Seth said he would, show. And yeah, I wish I hadn't. She's never said that, Dev. If you can provide a time slope, she's never said that. Please stop writing that as factual. She's never said that. Well, Kelly J, I mean, the only reason I stop is because it's not fair to Sebastian. I'm not looking at all this extra circus around it. His father's done that enough. I mean, again, this everything I said came from Seth. Oh, Chris texted my mother and said, your grandson. I mean, it's all there. And I know we don't like it. I know. I should have never said it. Thank you, Twiddly. All right, I'll go look. Hey, Gary. So you're talking about, right? Everybody's talking about it now, right? Everybody's talking about it. And I don't know, True Seeker, why you keep saying that Queen said anything bad about me. Like, I know Voices did, but I don't know why you keep saying it like Queen did. Yeah, as we saw yesterday's now being investigated. Don't holler at me when I post. I do your thing, Mystic. I don't know what you're ever really on about when you get this way. I don't get it. Hakab, it's a taboo topic. I don't know. Seth implied Chris saw something, whatever that was, that made him uncomfortable. So, yeah, I hate it. You just do you. Don't let them bother you. We support you. We're here because we want to be. Thank you, Saint. Good morning, Kate the Great. Well, she kind of did Lindsay late, but that's okay, right, Katie B? That's okay, huh? You meant no harm. Thank you so much, just a girl. I appreciate all of you sincerely, like deeply. There was a witness? No. So old, it's ridiculous. Think they learn we aren't going anywhere. You are my day one, Loki. Nah, Granny, don't have regrets on merely covering something the father said. You never said exactly what happened. It could have been merely something said. That's all it was. Say with CP doing things right. And that's what I'm saying, Kelly. So why isn't that being highlighted by this person? Like, they are literally implying that Chris Proudfoot SA'd Sebastian, and that's okay. That's being skipped over because she's friends with Sharon. Cher's friends with the person that allowed that on their panel. That's why. Because it's all about who you're friends with, and it's not really about what you're saying or doing. It's what they can find and turn into something that you're not saying and doing. That's the problem. It's exactly why that's not being called out. Right, I'd say. And again, Voices has said and done far worse. Far worse for many years. So skip your fake moral outrage. TPA is nonsense. TPA. I couldn't believe it myself. And like literally made everything come together. Like, doop, there's the bow. It makes sense now. Thank you so much. Well, there's that. Thank you. I was listening since beginning, sadly admitting if she wasn't so worried about you, I would have never found you. Thank you, Kelly J. Hey, Lala. Yeah, you guys are pretty late now. I was baffled, Lee Michelle. I was baffled. And we went over all this before, as did Nonsense, because it was also claimed before that I pulled this out of thin air. So all of these, clips and all were already gathered to prove that. Thank you, Big Picture. It's just crazy. Important to keep in mind for those who actually care about what happened to this child. Right, I'm not going to be shamed. And I don't think we should continue to act like Sebastian should be shamed too. I know. She even has Laura. And I know. That's what I'm saying. You have. I was quite impressed with everybody we have somebody in the comment section just pretended to be blackface a week ago and said, don't talk about me and my culture, put on fake accent and everything. Yeah. Unreal. I agree, Trips True Talk. I agree. You're right. I've always said this the breaks. Birds of a feather. Crabs in a bucket. She listens to no one. She watches, listens for herself, decide on any of her decisions. Feeling to someone. Listen, like I said, people can dislike what I said, but don't twist it. Don't put it something it wasn't. And don't act like I pulled it out of thin air. That's all. Very passionate about this topic. Like, very fucking passionate about it. They're loving a drama, which is even more disgusting. Yeah. Well, if they didn't want this part of it to be highlighted, then why bring such a focal to it? Because that's what happens. They brought in this huge focus to something they think shouldn't even be mentioned at all. So I started talking about SA, it shouldn't have. And this is true crime, and SA is a crime. If you can't handle speaking on it, find something else to watch. Right. Dislike me all you want. Don't manipulate this shit, because then that makes the one manipulating the one in the wrong. This context why Sebastian may have run away due to overhearing parental conversation about allegedly inappropriate behavior. Did I miss something? No, that's pretty much, I think Sebastian knew that he was being sent to go live with his father, who he really didn't want to have to live with. And I think that all plays a part into why. That's all. People can disagree. I'm not out here saying Chris did anything to harm Sebastian or his daughter. Not out here saying Seth did anything besides the obvious to cause harm. That is my theory on why Sebastian ran away that night. And I know people don't like it. Publicity, and there's a lot of channels highly jealous and looking for any reason to say her name. I know, Jeanette. Her weapon of language is dangerous. She's a little lady who crafts on YouTube. Right, what happens if Sebastian sees this? Well, what happens if Sebastian now sees all the conversations that have taken place today, because of that? We don't know if that's true, Silver City. You can't even say that's true. We have no idea. Thank you, Jeanette. I mean, I'm not always going to say everything as PC and perfectly stated as I wish I could. Something it wasn't was worse than what they were claiming he did. I'm sorry, but it brought even more attention to it. Right. That's my whole sentiments. Like, now we are sitting here having this entire discussion. There's other channels having an entire discussion. And for what? For a few minute discussion on a couple hour live stream? I get being upset with me for it, but just keep it what it was. You don't have to add any extra descriptives to it or make it something it wasn't. Subland, clearly no understand the difference. Thank you, Linda. Listen, all the professionals say the same thing. Katie's okay, everything else is just garbage. Yeah, I feel like this is a big part of it. I know. As taboo as it is. Alright, so TV put it out there for a bigger reason, so everyone will talk about it. Maybe I'm thinking out of the box. I'll say this, Kelly. I don't know if that's the case there, but I do know many creators have had this discussion months ago. I know many creators do think about it, but they won't say it because it is taboo and it's not, it's not very well reciprocated. Thank you, Jensen. Voice is dangerous. She doxed me simply because I let a family she was an advocate for know that she was trashing on someone's panel and talking to the minors. I remember all of that. When their daughter was missing. Right, Gisnet. I wish I knew. Hey, Joe Madre. So said he didn't want to live with him because Sebastian's school, he wanted to go there and not be homeschooled. And he said that he didn't have personal boundaries. And that he was, saying things to students that were inappropriate to be said to them. I mean, these are all things his father said. Well, thank you very much. I don't know if I'm the first. And it won't be the last time I have to apologize for something. But in this case, I will apologize for making people uncomfortable, but I will not apologize and be accused of saying and doing something I didn't do. That's all. Oh, I heard being near the water for 30 minutes does like something internally for you. You're allowed to speak here because if they don't. Right. And it's based on facts, Saint. That's the other difference. I'm not just pulling it out of my ass. I didn't just for you. Thank you, Andy. I think these people just want to, I don't know. Like I said, be upset by it. I get that. I understand that. But don't sit there and try to label me on something I'm not and make it something it's not and, and act like you're doing it because you truly care. No, you're doing it because you're angry. You're angry at who I associate with. You're angry, because you think things should be ran a certain way and people are disagreeing with you. And that's it. You're just, maybe you're misdirecting it. Why is it okay to, whatever. They always do, Kelly. Especially, I said this to you all the other day. When the actual content around the case dries up, it starts infighting, and creators start attacking other creators. And that's exactly what I saw coming weeks ago. And I said, nope, I'm out. You're not getting me, bitches. I know exactly what you're up to. I don't want parts of it. And then who would have thought one asshole clips something, likely didn't clip all of it, presents it, and people run with it. They run with it. So thank you, Jasmine. Right, Jane. Of course they are. It's what they do best. What happened at school, Sebastian? CBS had to be involved in that as well. I don't know, Kelly J. I'm afraid we're not even allowed to talk about it, to be honest. But I do appreciate you all being here with me. I am like literally mentally and emotionally drained. So I am going to pack up and head to the shore and take a breather because this is freaking exhausting. There's a lot of things I've done wrong on my time on YouTube. There's plenty of things I've done wrong. There's plenty of words I pronounce wrong. There's plenty of things you can get me on. Please just keep it factual. Go at me for things I've actually done. Stop fabricating things. It is exhausting. You can't even... If I were Sebastian saw this on YouTube, I wouldn't want to come home or anywhere I'd be known, even the ones correcting misinformation. Yeah, that's always a chance that is taken, right, Murder Candy? I just don't think we can hold creators to that. I don't think it's fair to put on creators. But thank you so much. Thank you, Andy. I know, Joe Madre. Imagine that. Imagine Voices being the moral authority. I'm going to, Saint. I'm going to. It has become exhausting. And you know what? If I would have known in advance who she was friends with and who, she considers okay, I would have let like I would have had a lot different perspective, but I had a little bit of respect for you. And just as you say you've lost all respect for me, I can promise you I've lost all respect for you. And don't think people don't see the hate boner you have for Ziggy, because they do. They do. You're no different than every one of us. You might express yourself differently. You might express yourself more cautiously because you do so through videos instead of live streams. But you are literally no different than any of us. And I don't know what makes you think you are the moral authority, but I can promise there are things people can nitpick about you too. I do not, Jeanette. We never see anything like that. You have to go early in the season. No, SS. You know what I'm saying, OG Fish? Because I do. Oh, I do. And she was fine with me then. So, all right, I'm going to get moving. I do. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday.